Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ricky.
I'm Connor.
And here we go. More drafting. Let's dive right in. We are rare drafting as usual because it is a fun way to grow your collection, so we're hoping for some good rares. And what do we see? Skyclave apparition, overpowered card, so easy, happy pick there.
Awesome.
What else do we see here? Kalani Ambush. A fight enabler. Ooh, this is a fun card if you draft all warriors. Base camp is a trap, I believe, in limited because you're almost never going to run 5-color party anyway. Vanquish the weak. Removal spells always good. Flyers mediocre because it's 5, but it does have flash. Into the Royal, extremely solid. Cleric of Chill Depths, pretty good if you're desperate for clerics. Smite the Monstrous, situational. Royal Eruption, who doesn't like a good burn spell? Scorch Rider is mediocre. Adventure Awaits, also mediocre. And Territorial Scythecat, excellent if you have the right deck. So, Skyclave Apparition. Looks like we're back in white again.
Alright.
This pack, so looking at our white cards, our Landfall enabling Raptor seems pretty good. Can't complain. We do see a lot of blue cards. Jawari Disruption, Anti-Cognition. Not running counterspells, nothing is drawing us into that direction. The Cascade Seer is a decent party member. Chilling Trap, mediocre. Glacial Grasp, mediocre. Shadow Stinger, Vampire Rogue, is pretty deadly. Milling 3 cards can add up, especially if you get this out early. Rogues is kind of hard to get unless you're already in blue-black. So maybe. I think I'm going to stick with the Raptor just to stay with one color. However, if this was a real draft, we would be passing both Shadow Stinger and Vanquish the Weak, which actually I think is a valid strategy, because then presumably if we take the Raptor, which is in our colors, the person next to us would take one of the black cards, and then the other person would also take the black card. So I think splitting the black cards amongst your pool is a valid strategy, but again, we're quick drafting, so that doesn't matter. So I'm feeling the Raptor, I'm feeling the Flyers today, so I'm going to go with that. Let's hope it pays out. What do we see here? We have Salundi Vision, mediocre. Lethal Form Blight, absolutely unplayable in my opinion. Spring Mantle Cleric, enters with the 1/1 counter for each color spent to cast it. Whoa, this could potentially be massive if you're playing multicolored. So the base camp is actually pretty good for this card. Remember I said it was a trap card, but yeah. Base camp could work in your favor when casting that. Disenchant, Deliberate, Field Research, draw 2 cards, 3 to draw 2 cards, 6 to draw 3 cards. Not a very exciting card in my opinion. Blood Price does a whole bunch of everything, but not enough of anything. Molten Blast, very expensive Shock. Landfall Nectar Pot, Vanilla Creature, Territorial Scythecat, and the Blightblade. So we do have Landfall Enabler in the Raptor, so I think I'm going to go with the Scythecat because a Trampler with Landfall 1/1 counters could go very well for us. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Kitesail Cleric comes to us. Pretty solid card. Jerry's Shelter, protection, and a flex land, always a good option to have in limited. Expedition Healer, excellence, vigilance, and general party member shenanigans. Shepherd of Heroes, wow, this pack is stacked with white cards.
You want all of that.
Yep, pretty much. Even Tazium Royal Mage, excellent if you're playing sorceries and instants, very powerful. Silencer is very expensive, kind of like the Beetle Plus from the last set, or 2 sets ago. I don't remember which. But very weak because in limited you generally only have 2 party members in play most of the time. So 6 mana, target creature gets -2/-2, kind of weak. Gruldraz Mucklord, not a bad filler card. Sky Dancer, also not a bad filler card. Ambush, Might of Marasa is on color, but not that great, not that great. So we have a slew of white cards. We have efficient removal, we have a flyer, we have a trampler that goes with landfall, so we're looking for landfall damage. So the Shepherd Hero is not necessarily fitting into that. We don't have any party members right now, so we probably might not get too much value out of this. However, 5 to cast 3 for flying, always playable in limited. Expedition Healer puts us into party members. Kitesail Cleric is a little bit more flexible. It is a party member. However, based on what we have right here, I think I'm going to go with the protection spell, just so we can save our landfall cats. Spikefield Hazard, extremely annoying to play against in standard. In limited, I don't think it's that great. Base Camp, again, Trap, Dauntless Unity, Negate. Our favorite friend, Seafood Stalker. Scale the Heights, 1/1 counter, gain 2 life, draw additional land. Ooh, this could help with our landfall. This is Zendikar, 4/4 reach and haste. When it dies, return that land to its owner's hand. Can help with landfall. Ardent Electromancer, not what we're looking for. Skitter Sneak, not what we're looking for. And Drain a Silencer, we already went through that. So here, some of everything I don't think is necessarily that great right now. However, the Zendikar, like if you cast this out on turn 4, you know, your lands are tapped, so you can't really attack, you can't take advantage of the haste. So really this card, if you're playing this card, you're really hoping to have a mana dork to ramp you into 4 mana so you can attack with the 4/4 on turn 3 or turn 4. Yeah, turn 4 drop a land, mana dork, 3 lands, turn your land to 4/4 creature, you can attack on turn 4. Seeing as we don't have a mana dork, I think I would rather play Scale the Heights, so I will do that. We see, ooh, the Stinger again. This is very dangerous now. Again, if this was real drafting, we would be passing 2 of these to our opponent, which would be absolutely ridiculous, especially because they're uncommons. They would definitely pick that one up. The Protector moves us into party members. Indestructible does matter sometimes, especially if you have Trample. Very powerful. Adept, I don't like this card. You know, it's a 3/4/3/3, is very vanilla. It does count as a party member, but it enables your opponent to draw cards. Anti-Cognition, we're not running counter spells. Mucklord is a good filler, we're not in that color. Sizzling Barrage, very good removal spell in limited, but not in our color. And not a bad generic creature, not in our colors though. So we are left with Kazandu Stomper, which is excellent, late game landfall, and Dauntless Survivor, which gives you a 1/1 token. So I think I'm gonna go big and go for the late game landfall. The Ox is not bad. 5/4/4/4 body is kind of slow, kind of generic, but landfall, it turns all of your mana screws into potential wins if you tap down your opponent's creatures. Unfortunately, we do Kazandu Stomper here, so we are punished for picking that up earlier. And again, the rest of the cards we have mostly seen before and not relevant to our deck. So we either double up on the Stomper, or we cheapen our curve a little bit and play the Ox. I think I will opt for an Ox just for variety. I don't think consistency makes a difference if for a 6/5 Trampler you're not. Hopefully I'm not relying on 6/5 Tramplers to win with landfall cards like the Scythecat and the Raptor. So I'll play for variety this time. Disenchant, maybe it's time to pick that up here. Cascade Seer, we went through that. New duelist here is a rogue. I hope, man, if this was a real draft again, passing this to the guy who got the 2, mill rogues. Oh god, that would be nasty to play against. More rogues here. Holy. Scale of Heights. Ooh, we were punished for picking up that earlier. We see another copy. Cliffhaven Kitesail is interesting. We can have a flying cat. But I feel like we're going to see more Kitesails passed to us later. So maybe I just double down on Scale the Heights. I don't think that's too bad because, we do have the Skyclave, Apparition, and the Raptors. And all of those could definitely use woman counters. So I think I will stick with Scale the Heights for now. Base camp again. Oh, and this is the wheel. So we don't see anything that great. If you didn't, so this is at worst draw 1 card. Scry 5 draw 1 card is the worst it can offer. So it's slightly worse than deliberate at worst. We are creature heavy, so this might work in our favor. However, Smite the Monstrous is a pretty efficient removal, and white-green is pretty light on removal. I do have one of the only removal creatures in the set, and of course there's the binding, but we didn't see either of those. So because we have Scale the Heights as a support card, which sort of mimics what Adventurer Awaits does already, I think I'm going to go with a removal spell. Pressure Point is mediocre, Snarecaster is mediocre, Utility Knife is also mediocre. We don't have a lot of cheap creatures to make use of Utility Knife. So perhaps we should grab some reach just in case. We see the Disenchant. I guess we'll pick that up just in case we feel like we need to main deck that. Whoa! We have Might of Murasa and the Kitesail Cleric wheeling. I think I'm going to go with the Kitesail Cleric because it is a cheap flyer, and cheap flyers win games in Limited. So here we go. Cheap flyers. Base camp, and ooh, the Zendikar wheels. Excellent. That's very lucky for us. I think we've picked the right colors, or we've made the most horrific choice and passed on all of the good colors. Well, I guess we'll never find out. We see, oh man, it's so good, but not in our colors. Maybe we'll splash it. Maybe we'll splash it. We are rare drafting, so we are forced to pick that. Not a bad card for the collection, but not what we wanted to see. Moss Pit Skeleton is fun. This Cleric is always good value. Gain some life, get a blocker and or a flip land. Protector, Dauntless Survivor makes a second appearance. Ornate Rage. Bugcatcher, very, very sneaky attacker if you're playing party members. Into the Royal, very powerful card. Can potentially get you a 2-for-1 value if you cast it for 4. Or more. If you bounced an enchanted creature, you get rid of the enchantments too, so extreme value potential in there. Reclaim the Waste is excellent for a landfall, but so far we only have one landfall payoff and lots of landfall enablers, so not the greatest to pick up for us. Blightblade, extremely good cheap creature. I definitely would have picked this if I was rare drafting. However, since we are going to go with the rare. What do we see here now? A Fight Enabler is now in our color. It is way better. We are passing a 3rd Shadow Stinger. I feel like I should have just gone with this. We would have won. Our deck would have been so ridiculous. You just get these into play and just smash your opponent's deck. 10% of their deck gone every turn. Absolutely ridiculous. I regret everything. I think a Fight Enabler is looking pretty good. However, Nahiri's Binding is my favorite. I think I'm going to prefer that over the Ambush. We're not playing Wizard, so that's pretty mediocre. Cheap creature would have been viable. This card is surprisingly good as a mana sink. Glacial Grasp. Malakir Blood Priest, also surprisingly good if you're playing party members. Akum Hellhound, turn all of your lands into shocks. Inordinate Rage, Sizzling Barrage, Strength of Solidarity, and Snarecaster. So I'm gonna go with the removal spell, which is way better, I think, in this context than our ambush here. We see Gerari Disruption again. Roost of Drakes.
Ooh.
So powerful, but I think I'm skipping right ahead. I see this Prowling Felidar. We started with the Landfall. I think we're going to have to continue the Landfall.
Yeah.
And I believe Prowling Felidar deserves my attention because I did not do it justice in my first draft series. Go watch my mistakes. It was absolutely horrific. Skyclave Shadowcat kind of looks like this guy, except, you know, drowned in a swamp kind of thing. Sacrifice another creature, one encounter whenever a creature you control and draw a card. Right, it's okay, I guess. In the right deck, Protector we've seen, Dauntless Unity, everyone knows that that does. Chill Depths, Vanquish the Weak, very efficient. Cleansing Wildfire, Landfall Shenanigans, Scavenger Blade, not a bad equipment. Broken Wings, if you're desperate. Seagate Colossus if you're playing party members. So, pretty easy pick here. We see Kazul's Fury, sack a creature, deal damage equal to sacrifice power to any target. Not what we're looking for. Roiling Regrowth, excellent for Landfall. I think that's our pick. Oh yeah, definitely. Smite the Monstrous, we don't need. Cascades here, we've seen. The cheapest kicker enabler card in the set, not what we're playing for. Another Hellhound. Fisher Wizard, discard a card if you draw a card. Not what we're looking for. Northern Rage, pretty solid. Gnarlid Colony, kicker and grants us trample for all of our 1/1 counters. Trample would be ridiculous with our Prowling Felidar, of course. However, if we go Roiling Regrowth, we could be greedy and bring in our Taborax as a cheap flyer.
Ooh.
Very, very spicy. Very, very spicy play. I'm not sure that's worth it though, because we aren't running party members, so we don't get the Clerics. The best we get is a cheap flyer, and Roiling Regrowth does cost 3 mana, so by the time we cast Roiling Regrowth, we won't be able to play the Demon on curve anyway. So splashing black just for a 2/2 flyer might not be worth it.
Yeah, only if you have a lot of Clerics.
Yeah, so with that in mind, I think we need to hedge and play our Gnarlid Colony. I think we are a little bit low on the cheaper curve, and this can flex onto the end game extremely well as well. And it does help our other Landfall cards, and since we have a bunch of Landfall enablers already, I think I feel comfortable picking the Colony over Roiling Regrowth. However, counter argument, we do have 2 double white cards, so having Roiling Regrowth will help us ensure we can play those cards. Those cards are very, very key and very, very powerful. They're both removals, so maybe I do take the Roiling Regrowth here just to make sure we have the double white. Hopefully we'll see another Gnarlid Colony because it is a common. Okay, so we see Consumption, we see this is the Drain 4, sorry. This is the Rogue, that's not that great in my opinion. Mesa Lynx, we can consider that for a cheap creature, but it's more of a filler card than anything. We've seen that. Seafood Stalker, I think this is definitely my favorite common in this set, it's hilarious. Duelist, another generic rogue, very powerful if you have party members. Robo Fort not in our colors. Marasa Brute is the only generic creature, or Mesa Lynx. So we have a lot of 3 mana on the 3 mana curve card, so we want to stay away from vanilla creatures such as this. So I think I might as well pick up a Mesa Lynx. Here we see 4/5 Trampler with the flip land option. Goma Fada Vanguard. Target creature. Okay, so you remove blockers. Excellent if you were in those colors. Outrider. Not too bad of a card if you're playing party members. Core Celebrant, that's... we're playing creatures, so it can't be that bad. Maybe we'll consider that. Field Research, Cleansing Wildfire. Cheap Death Touch. Who can give up cheap Death Touch? So let's grab some cheap Death Touch. Your opponent's control -2/-0. Living Tempest. Blood Beckoning, not in our color. Return creature cards from graveyard to your hand. Ghastly Gloomhunter, cheap flyer, plus lifelink, extremely good in limited. Tormenting Voice, nice. Tuk Rebel Fort, Adventure Awaits, and Seagate Colossus. So we basically have no playables in this set, or in this draw. So I think I will just go for a collection card. Yeah, why not? It's an uncommon. Let's pick that. We see our Honeypot, a mild landfall payoff, our Indestructible, our Ox. Do I need any more cheap creatures? How is our curve looking? Our curve is still looking pretty heavy on the 3 drops if you take a look up here. So I'm still hesitant to pick that up. I think I will pick up the cheap Nectar Pot instead. This might be a mistake though, I'm not sure. The way I see it, if I have the Nectar Pot in play and I'm stuck playing cards like Scale the Heights, the 1/1 counter can go on the Nectar Pot, it becomes a 2/4. That's a pretty solid blocker. I gain 2 life and I can play an additional land, so if I have an extra land, I'm ramping up and I'm gaining extra life. So, you know, the Nectar Pot isn't really that bad considering we have some of a landfall theme going on here. Utility Knife, Concerted Defense, so this is the wheels. Dauntless Survivor is looking pretty good again. Cheap card that can help us scale into late game because it doesn't need to put the 1/1 counter on itself. And unfortunately we did not take the Gnarlid, so the Gnarlid would have been much better with the Dauntless Survivor, but we made our choice. Strength of Solidarity, Snarecaster, we already have a Snarecaster, so I'll get Strength of Solidarity even though we don't have that many party members. Actually, that's worthless if I don't have any party members, huh? For each creature, yeah, if you can, this can actually net you 0 1/1 counters. So I think that's going straight to the sideboard. Broken Wings, you know, filler card, not really useful in best of 1. Nothing playable here, so it is a collection card. I think I'm less likely to ever collect this. Another collection card, and Utility Knife. Not a bad pickup. Ooh, a rare? Number of creatures in your party. No. At the beginning of combat, if you have full party target, you get +1/+1 and flying until end of turn.
Oh man.
Okay, wow. So this creature isn't all that great, but it is 1 to cast, so it is extremely efficient. So it's a 1 to cast 1/2. We're never gonna get a full party. So for us, all this is a 1 to cast 1/2. Not our day, but hey, we can't come. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh, do I have to rare draft? Fearless Fledging is possibly the best landfall card you can have in white in this set, but we are rare drafting, so here we go. I am not even going to look at the rest of the pack because I'm so sad about that Fledgling. We're never going to see it again. Here we go. Takedown, number of creatures you control. We do have a bunch of creatures. We can consider that. Horn Beetle. For each 1/1 counter you put on creatures. We don't have a 1/1 counter generator, so this isn't the greatest.
You do have your Felidar.
Ooh, oh, you're right. If I have Felidar, man, too bad we don't have the Fledgling. Then we have two 1/1 counter enablers.
Oh, and you've got the Scythecat.
Oh yeah, the Scythecat, but that's only 2. That's 2 creatures out of like a bajillion.
Yeah.
I don't know, 5 for 3/4. It's kind of expensive. Spoils of Adventure, pretty solid card because you get to gain the life. Oh, how did I not see that? All right. I think our pick is done. another
takedown
Felidar.
is good though.
The takedown is good. You think so? True, it is an efficient removal card, but I think we need more landfall payoff at this point. I don't know if we can just make it work with this takedown. Well, let's see. Another menacing, chilling.
They're both good. Can't go wrong.
Party member, tormenting voice, broken wings. Can it be Baloth? Not as good as Felidar in my opinion. 2+2/+2 until end of turn. I mean, this gets +2/+2 permanently once after 2 drops. So, yeah, I think Felidar is pretty good since we have the recurring landfall cards. Takedown. So we have the Shajiri Shelter as our combat trick. We do have a removal in Nahiri's Binding. We do have a removal in Skyclave Apparition. We do have removal in Smite the Monstrous. So I definitely think that while this is a good card, it flexes as a flip land. I just think we need more payoffs to claim the win. So I'm going to go with the Felidar here. Could be wrong. Could be wrong, you know.
I think they're both awesome. So
I think that's paying off. We see another Tajuru Rapture.
Oh man, my favorite card so far in this set.
yeah. I've been wrecked by it in Standard and in Limited. Like every time my opponent plays it, I just like cross my fingers and hope he drafted 0 shell shields. But man, if like we saw rogues as a completely dominating archetype that we passed, and we also passed 2 Root of Drakes and multiple Risen Tide. So whoever is going next to us really should have just drafted a rogue deck with Kicker and Roots of Drakes, and easily would have won the draft if this was in real life. Gain control, attack ignition, Risen Riptide. I think we've seen all of these cards by now. Seafood Stalker, Seagate Colossus. So yeah, easy pick here with the Raptor. Vision, the Cleric doesn't add any value to us still. Bubble Snare, oh man, this card is also, you know, pretty rigged. Glacial Grasp, Shell Shield, oh man. Just so nasty. So it's between the Cleric or the Dauntless Survivor. I think that's an easy pick. Gotta get that turn 2 curve. What do we see here? We see another one of these cats. Adept. Living Tempest, Ghastly Gloomhunter, Ambusher, Broken Wings. Scale the Heights again. We don't need 3 copies of that. Strength of Solidarity. Turn Temper Ascetic. 5 for 5/4, gain 3 life. That's not bad. The whole point of this card is, you know, you have a fatty in green that's also a party member. I think we could make use of this because gaining 3 life might make a difference to us at this point. However, we do see a Kitesail here. Flying Scythecats and Flying Vigilance is very powerful, so I think we definitely need to pick one up here. I don't think the Ascetic is good enough for us, considering we already have Kazandu Stomper, which gives us more landfall. So I think the Kitesail can help us win.
I like it.
Ooh, another Kitesail cheap flyer. Ooh, Gnarlid Colony comes back. Disenchant, Core Celebrant. Practice Tactics is good removal if you're playing party members. Core Celebrant, solid card in Limited overall because it's 1/4 and gains you life. We talked about the Gloomhunter. I think it's time to pick up the Gnarlid Colony here. We do have a bunch of 1/1 counters going on. Getting Trample could get us the win. And, you know, we could flex it as a generic Grizzly Bear, too. So I think we're going to have to go with the Gnarlid here. But passing up on this guy always feels bad. It's a cheap flyer. Cheap flyers win in Limited. But we don't have that many power-ups for a 1/1 flyer, I don't think.
What Dauntless Survivors?
Yeah. So Dauntless Survivor on the Kitesail, Gnarlid. But you know, our main goal is to win with Scythecat and Prowling Felidar and our Raptors already. So I think the Gnarlids could get us better than just having a 1/1 flyer. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Gnarlid here. Outrider, Practice Tactics, Glacial Grasp, Blood Reckoning, Adventure Awaits, Ambusher, Seasoned Barrage. Okay, so nothing exciting here. We're not picking up that. We don't have enough party members, I believe. Let's do a count. We have 1 Cleric, 2 Rogues, and 2 Warriors, and 0 Wizards. So definitely not going for party members. Adventure Awaits feels kind of bad. Outrider is a 4 to cast 3/3 for us, so also feels kind of bad. Again, we already have Scale the Heights, so I think running too many of these cards doesn't make sense. You know, if we're running 2 Scale the Heights, this card is absolutely useless, so we might as well give ourselves an option during deck building in case we need that creature. Core Celebrant, very, very nice pickup here. Again, never ever going to play 3 copies of Scale the Heights to win, right? We don't need three of these to win. That'd be kind of bad. Or am I underestimating this? Because you do gain 2 life, so that kind of makes up for the fact that, you know, it's a turn 3 sorcery. An additional land per turn can get us more 1/1 counters. But I think a Core Celebrant is just way too solid for us to really consider that. Banneret, cheap creature, and once again we can pick up that. So having a mana sink here, can't complain. So in our deck, because we don't have that many party members, like Seagate Banneret 1 for 1/2 is essentially the same thing as this guy. We don't have wizards to get this ever to a full party. We have 0 hope of getting there. So it's kind of funny how that works out sometimes. Spirit Supplies, I think, is the most playable card here, so we'll pick that up. And Absolute Uselessness, we'll pick up this card for a collection. Although this card is absolutely useless, so I'm less likely to ever draft this. Reach, don't think we need another 3-drop creature that has Reach. Although, if we're looking at collection cards, I think, yep, this is the one I need. Put that sideboard immediately. Broken Wings, Strength of Solidarity, also very useless. We'll even out the cards here. Disenchant, don't need 2 copies of that. Alright, so I think our deck strategy is very, very straightforward. I think cutting cards is going to be pretty straightforward here. Don't think our 1/1 knife is going to help us win the game. I don't think we need to draw extra cards using that card specifically. How many creatures do we have? We have 19, so we can cut creatures. Our Ox isn't looking too good, but let's consider that. Definitely need, so this is a core card. We definitely need to keep that. Definitely need to keep that as our landfall enablers. Prowling Felidar is landfall payoff. Our Scythecat is landfall payoff, so we definitely need all of those. So Death Touch, cheap Death Touch can keep us in the game, so I think that fits very well. Kitesail is another win condition, so we definitely need to do that. Outrider I think can go. It's relatively expensive. It doesn't look like we need it. Banneret holds the line and is an excellent mana sink. Kitesail speaks for itself. Disenchant, I don't think we need to main deck Disenchant, seeing as how aggressive our deck is. Mesa Lynx might go. It's a relatively weak vanilla card. Sajiri Shelter is a good protection spell for our payoffs. Dauntless Survivors, maybe we cut one of these, because I don't think we need 1/1 counters that badly, but if we ever see Kitesail Cleric plus a 1/1 counter, a 2/2 flyer, attacking on turn 2 is excellent. You can never complain about that. Colony is not bad. Nectarpot is kind of an oddball here. So let's move our potential cuts to this column here. We need to cut 3 more cards. Core Celebrant. Not exactly what we want. And it is turn 3. But it is... Actually, yeah, in Landfall, our Core Celebrant is kind of like the Nectarpot. But it is turn 3, which makes it worse than the Nectarpot for us. So maybe we get rid of it. Skyclave apparition we definitely need to keep because it's just super solid. Removal cards super solid. Oops. Let me not make too many columns here. Snarecaster. We have flyers, right? We have 2 flyers, so maybe we don't need the reach.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we can do without the reach. Scale the Heights is not too bad. Rolling Regrowth enables our landfall. Zendikar is a creature. This is a weak removal, so we can consider removing that. The Ox is looking like a pretty good card to have on turn 5. So let me refresh our deck list here and take a look at what our curve looks like again. Because we might consider removing a land. We have the Roiling Regrowth. That's technically a land. However, it is a little bit risky to cut a land because we do have a 6 to cast creature here, and again, because we're playing a landfall deck, we shouldn't be sad to draw lands. So I don't think cutting a land is a good strategy for this particular deck. Cliffhaven Kitesail. Do we need this to win? So we have flying. We can potentially get flying Death Touch, a flying cheap creature. Flying Lynx doesn't help us. Actually, yeah, Flying Lynx actually does help us. That's pretty nice. Flying Survivor would be awesome. Flying Colony. So yeah, I think the Cliffhaven Kitesail can stay because Flying Felidar and Flying Scythecat easily help us win the game. So I think one of these needs to go. The Nectar Pot or the Celebrant, one of these definitely needs to go. And because our turn 3 curve is still very high, I believe that's going to get axed. Sucks to be you, unfortunately. Hopefully, the 1/4 toughness doesn't become relevant. I'll be very, very sad if that 1/4 toughness becomes relevant, because the Nectar Pot really is just to help us on our curve. Regrowth, Scythecat, so we need one more cut. I'm thinking Smite the Monstrous here. Just because we're not too afraid of creatures with power 4 or greater. We do have the Apparition and the Binding that can help with whatever targets this. How many creatures do we have? 16. So yeah, on a creature-based attacking... actually, we might be able to get rid of the cat. The cat's not that great. Right?
Yeah.
It's an early attacker, so if we don't have the cat, our turn 2 plays are going to be, hopefully, Dauntless Survivor, Gnarl Colony, or the Nectar Pot. Turn 3 is where our deck turns on. Turn 4 is where we start playing our win conditions. So, yeah, I think as long as it's not your turn, it gets +0/+2. It is a good blocker, though. However, it's 3 toughness, 2/3 isn't going to get us any farther than 1/3 is, honestly. So yeah, I think the cat's going to go. Alright, that's that for our deck building. We will be playing these games very shortly, but it's going to be another video. So, if you're on YouTube, please like and or subscribe and check out the gameplay video coming up next. And if you're on Twitch, give me a follow.